Greetings, brother and sister rebels, and welcome once again to the forest. Before we leave the subject of solstice, that is to say Christmas, behind us, I want to make one last point, and this is how we need to be vigilant to keep our celebrations and our holy days, our holidays, uh, useful and bright. If you look back on our ancients, our ancestors' celebration of the solstice, the longest night of the year, it came directly after the harvest, the final preparations for the beginning of winter, when most of the work had to be wrapped up, had to be finished. And it was very tempting for our ancestors to link the solstice gifting to the amount of labor and assistance that was given by friends and family, but specifically with the children. If you look back, children were important to a family as extra hands and extra help. They had chores from waking to sleeping that were vital to the well running of a large farm. And face it, most of us were farmers. They kept they kept the smaller, lighter, easier, uh, but important tasks going so that the adults could focus on the more skilled labor and the things that require more brawn and more um, attention. So you wanted to reward your family, your children, if they did a good job, and you wanted to discourage them from slacking off or deliberately doing things that would cause problems. And Christmas was must have been a godsend in the same way that modern families, or particularly modern mothers, liked to play the elf on a shelf game. Uh, for those unfamiliar, there's a small doll that you can purchase, and the idea is that the doll will watch over what your children do, and when your children do good things, the doll will report to Santa Claus, and when the children do bad things, that also gets reported. And the sort of Christmas bonus you get, or gifts, will be determined by your behavior. It's very tempting as a parent to use a method like that, and the idea of Santa bringing you wonderful gifts if you're good, or no gift, or bad things if you are not so good, uh, obviously originated with the parents wanting the children to buck up and help out, and not wanting to have to be standing over them and supervising all the times, because obviously anyone who's been in that position knows that doesn't work. If there's a lot to be done, you can't be micromanaging your children. So this was one way to encourage children at the months, the weeks leading up to the solstice, to get on board and help out. Unfortunately, that has evolved into the idea that the more gifts you give, the more gifts you get, the better a person you are. This was encouraged by our commercial our merchants, our commercial side of our population. They get a huge boost around this time because of the mandatory gift buying, gift giving, and they have factored it into their business plan that all of us will, out of responsibility and necessity, uh, throw money out and gift and give, not to our families necessarily, just our families, and certainly not just to our children, because our children are no longer fulfilling the role of required help at this time of year, but out of a sense of need to prove our love in a material way. And this is extremely damaging to those who can't afford to gift out, can't afford the monetary outlay to give, especially in the times that we are living now when everyone is tightening their belts and many people are working 2 and 3 jobs or a big job and the side jobs. It's it's very difficult to push back against a cultural norm that says if you aren't a child that has plentiful and expensive gifts, then you aren't a good child. This is opposite of what the spirit of the season is supposed to be, which relates to giving, which relates to working together, which relates to all of us being included and all of us being important. And when you're on the outside of that, the despair and the overwhelming sadness and loneliness can be consuming. Instead of focusing on the gifts each year, we need to focus on finding the people who are on the outside and folding them in. We need to focus on community. We need to focus on just spending time with the people we love, spending time with our friends, getting to know our neighbors, and getting to know those who seem to be struggling. This time is about helping those who are struggling. We need to take it back from those who want to profit off of it. Like many of our institutions, the holidays, the holy days, have been used as a source of profit by others who wish to twist it to their own ends. But we can change that. We are changing that and being aware of it, questioning each of the different things that we do and asking, how does that tie back into source? How does that tie back into spreading joy and helping others and making this season better? If you keep refocusing on that and make sure all of the different traditions you hold reinforce that, you have just tapped into the source of the joy, the light, the love that is just waiting for you on this solstice in this season. So, with that, I conclude anything that needs to be said. But if you have questions for me, please leave it in the comments. I'd like to know what you think. And if you want to challenge some of the ideas I put forward, I appreciate that too. I'd like to do more research and I'd like to see other ways to look at this situation. So please do share. And thank you for spending some time. And I look forward to more of this, more time with you with future topics. Stay warm.